Thank you. Please be seated. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful, praise be to Allah, the cherisher and sustainer of the worlds, and blessings be on our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his family and his companions. Yang Berhormat Datuk Seri Diraja Dr. Zambry Kadir, Minister of Higher Education, His Excellencies, Heads of Diplomatic Mission in Malaysia, Yang Berbahagia Tan Sri Datuk Professor Emeritus Zulkifli bin Abdul Razak, Rector of the International Islamic University Malaysia, Yang Berbahagia Datuk Professor Emeritus Dr. Muhammad Azmi bin Umar, President International Association for Islamic Economics, Yang Berbahagia Datuk Muhammad Muazzam bin Muhammad, CEO of Bank Islam Malaysia Berhad and Platinum Sponsor for the ICIEF2024, Professor Dr. Garu Zazmi bin Madgani, Dean of Kuliah of Economics and Management Sciences and Conference Chairperson, Professor Dr. Muhammad Aslam bin Muhammad Hanif, Conference Co-Chairperson, Honorable guests, sponsors and strategic partners, distinguished speakers, participants, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good morning. Alhamdulillah, praise be to Allah the Almighty for His grace and mercy that we are gathered here today. On behalf of the organizing committee, we bid you Selamat Datang, Ahlan wa Sahlan, and welcome to the 15th International Conference of Islamic Economics and Finance closing ceremony. We are also very honored to have our Honorable Minister with us today to grace the closing event. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, without wasting much time, let us begin our closing ceremony with the conference summary delivered by Professor Dr. Muhammad Aslam Hanif, the co-chairperson for the organizing committee.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Yang berhormat Datuk Seri Diraja Dr. Zambry Abdul Kadir, Tan Sri Rector, Your Excellencies, Tan Sri Rector, Datuk Professor Emeritus Azmi, Datuk Muazzam, Group CEO of BIMB and our Platinum Sponsor, Prof. Gairu, members of the Board of Governors, IIUM, two of my lecturers who are sitting here, Prof. Syed Osman Al-Habshi and Datuk Jamil Osman, colleagues, members of the organizing committee, respected speakers and guests from overseas, brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It gives me great pleasure to say these few words at the beginning of this closing session in the form of a summary, and later on Prof. Gairu will continue with the action plan. Now, before we move on, I need to mention that this conference, in many ways, this conference is only beginning, although this is the final session, but we have a very unique feature of this conference. Yeah, so we'll speak about this in a while. But this 15th edition of the International Conference of Islamic Economics and Finance is held for the 4th time in Malaysia. And Alhamdulillah, IIUM has been given the trust to organize it. This is the 3rd time we are organizing it. And it also coincides with our 40-year anniversary of the university. The theme that we chose, driving the agenda for a sustainable humane economy, and the acronym is SHE, is a work in progress. It involves the understanding of the current state of Islamic economics and finance, as well as it relates to the theme, as well as to plan the future course of action. It's also unique, as I mentioned, because this time, for the first time, we look at the conference as a three-phase event. So things don't end today. In fact, some may even say it's only beginning. In meetings with the Minister of Finance too, who chaired the steering committee, it was proposed and agreed that deliberations, ideas and recommendations should not end on the 22nd of February. Reform is a work in progress. There are three phases. The first phase is the conference, and then we're going to have a post-conference agenda where the discussions that we had here are going to be detailed in more details, going to be discussed, and hopefully to be presented in phase 3, which is going to happen at the end of May. And tentatively, we are choosing 20th to 23rd May. 20th May, if you all, for IIUM staff and students, this is the year that the articles of memorandum of IIUM were passed, you know, and we were established on the 20th of May, 1983. So there's three phases. A little bit of background on the number of attendees. We did surpass the 600 number mark. Plenary speakers, paper presenters, government officials, representatives from NGOs, industry practitioners and policy makers, the local Ministry of Economy, KRI, EPF, and international agencies, World Bank, UNDP, United Nations, and I forget this, Economic Security for West Asia, please forgive me if I got that wrong, and Islamic Development Bank, who have been with us for a very, very long time, and the future Islamic economics and finance leaders, the students of IIUM and of other universities, altogether representing approximately 50 countries. The format of the conference, we began on Tuesday with the premier address by Yang Amat Berhormat Perdana Menteri, Prime Minister, and the tone was set for us to embrace reform and renewal, Islah and Tajdeed, the need for innovative thinking and continuous striving for excellence, and to utilize the Madani framework which was put forward by the government of Malaysia based on its 6 key pillars: sustainability, care and compassion, respect, innovation, prosperity and trust. So besides the premier address, we had 2 keynote addresses, 4 plenary panels with 16 speakers and 4 moderators, 3 parallel paper presentations, about 50 papers, 2 symposia, and a report session. I think this was yesterday, with about 15 speakers. And we have today the closing address by the Honorable Minister of Higher Education. These are the main insights or findings of the conference. Now, it's not a resolution document, so I'm just picking out 10 you could say points that we are going to develop further. Firstly, there is an urgent need to reevaluate current frameworks of development and to embrace an innovative agenda that represents the Islamic concepts of reform and renewal in order to move towards a genuinely more inclusive framework for human well-being based on the 6 principles: sustainability, care and compassion, respect, innovation, prosperity and trust. The conference also gave a lot of attention to the Islamic principle of universalism in enhancing social cohesion, social equity, and human dignity. There was a call to define clearly what a sustainable humane economy was or is, and to enhance efforts in developing comprehensive, multidimensional measures of the sustainable humane economy in the local context. There was a need to have a critical view of unfettered financialization that poses serious challenges in order to achieve sustainable and humane economy. A finance reset, or actually an economic and finance reset, is needed to ensure it serves the real economy and has a positive impact on society. There is a need to go beyond narrow legalistic forms of Islamic economics and finance to realize the higher objectives of the Sharia, which we were told consists of not only the 5 hifz, but the general as well as specific maqasid for different areas, including economics and finance. For example, given by Tan Sri Azman in his keynote, transitioning beyond the halal economy to halalan tayyiban, as we have in the Quran. We also need to transition from shareholder to stakeholder models in Islamic economics and finance to help achieve sustainable humane economy. We need to work together towards a circular and regenerative economy to achieve sustainable and humane economy. Achieving sustainable and humane economy requires detaching and liberating ourselves from the dominant consumerist, materialist value system. Achieving sustainable humane economy necessitates effective communication between all stakeholders as well as implementing transitional strategies. And finally, responsible and accountable public funds management and social responsibility of private finance is crucial in realizing sustainable humane economy. Wallahu alam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you, Prof. Next, I would like to invite Professor Dr. Gairu Zazmi Madgani, who is also the chairperson of the organizing committee of the 15th ICIEF Malaysia and also the Dean of Kuliah of Economics and Management Sciences, IIUM, to deliver the action plan.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Yang amat berhormat Datuk Seri Raja Dr. Zambry Abdul Kadir, His Excellencies, Head of Diplomatic Mission in Malaysia, Yang berbahagia Tan Sri Datuk Professor Emeritus Zulkifli Abdul Razak, Rector of the International Islamic University Malaysia, Yang berbahagia Datuk Professor Emeritus Dr. Muhammad Azmi bin Omar, President of International Association for Islamic Economics, Professor Dr. Muhammad Aslam bin Muhammad Hanif, Conference Co-Chairpersons, Honorable guests, sponsors and strategic partners, distinguished speakers, participants, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So I am given the hard part. Prof. Aslam's given the easier part. So what do we have to do? But before that, since we have the student over here, and to remember Prof. Anas Zarka advice that we have on the first day, let me just go through a few economic first, because this is a conference on Islamic economics and finance, and try to summarize these few days in just a few words before I go to the action plan. I will not explain what I'm going to say, so hopefully the students that we have over here, because the student that's going to be over here, hopefully in 10 years, you are going to be in the 16, the 17, the 18 International Conference on Islamic Economics and Finance. So my summary for the conference: one is Nash equilibrium for the private provisions of public good is not Pareto optimal. So you have to think about that. What does it mean? And those are the things that we have been talking about for the past few days. The Nash equilibrium of private provision of public good is not something that is optimal. Because it is not optimal, something needs to be done so that it is going to be optimal. Okay, second one. We always have critiques of Islamic economics and finance. So when Tan Sri Azman Mokhtar talk about CAP-M, so remember CAP-M, you have risk-free asset, okay, and you have equity premium puzzle. So try to relate those two, and then you also need to think about arbitrage pricing theory. So why, if you are able to understand that, then you'll be able to digest what we have covered for these 3 days. Okay, so now we can talk about the action plans that we have to do, not just for the conference that we are going, the conventions that we are going to have in May, okay, but also a much longer time periods that we have to think about. Okay, so let's go here. Okay, so we have over there 3 phases of the conference. Mana dia punya ni? Okay, so these are the action plans that we are thinking about, since UIA, IIUM, as the Secretariat of IFFE, International Federations of Islamic Finance Educators. So we have to think about, first we have to think about the education part. It's the first thing that we have to look at, okay, that we have to come up with, is we have to develop consensus for Islamic Economics and Finance curriculum in relations to sustainable humane economy. Because currently, if we look at the curriculums that we have to synchronize the curriculum. Everyone has to agree, okay, what are the important things that need to be covered, okay, so that everyone are on the same page. Okay, what is Islamic economics? What is sustainable humane economy? And at the same time, the workshop's going to produce relevant teaching materials and improve human resources in Islamic economics and finance. We have jokes okay, when we talk about teaching materials for Islamic economic and finance. Where is the book? So now we have to come up with the relevant material. Prof. Aslam have come up with the book Foundation of Islamic Economics. So hopefully everyone will be able to have the books, and everyone have the same ideas. What are the foundation of Islamic economics and finance? Okay, so second one, so we have the academic part. Okay, what you have in terms of lecturers, what we have to do. Okay? And in terms of research, okay, sustainable and humane economy research. So we have to look at the foundational research on sustainable humane economy. So these are the topics that we have been talking about for these 3 days. Measurement of human well-being, financializations, meaning, scope, and impact. What's the meaning of financializations? What is the impact of financializations? Okay? And D, in terms of the research that we have to concentrate on, is the higher objective of Sharia in relation to sustainable humane economy. And this is the hardest part. Okay, we have to think about, we have to come up with a white paper on sustainable humane economy. So we have to start coming up with a paper. What needs to be done so that in the end we are going to have an economy that is sustainable and humane. We have to identify the scope, the nature, the key attributes, the framework, and the mechanisms of this sustainable humane economy. For the past 3 days, there's a lot of mention about SDG, okay, Sustainable Development Goals. And people have been talking about saying that, okay, when we talk about sustainable development goal, when we talk about sustainable development, we are just talking about environment. Okay, but if you look at the sustainable development goal, there are 17 goals of that SDG. There are 169 targets. There are 232 measurable indicators. So if we go back to how do we measure, okay, how do we measure well-being? The Sustainable Development Goals have provided us some of the tools that we need to use, that we need to have when we talk about what is sustainable development, what is humane. So it's not just about environment. And why we talk about environment? Because in the end, we want to talk about the people, we want to talk about the rakyat, we want to talk about the well-being of the rakyat. For the well-being to be good, okay, for us to achieve falah, okay? So we need to have environment that is sustainable. So the white papers is going to be looking at that. Okay, so for the short term, if in between now, today, and the conference that inshallah is going to be held, or the convention inshallah that's going to be held in May. So these are some of the things that we have to do. Okay, so we talk about the need to have that white paper for sustainable human economy. So to do that, we are going to organize workshops on sustainable human economy, where we are going to invite participants, not just from the academics, policymakers, from the private sector. So so everyone is going to come up with an idea. Okay, what is sustainable human economy? Everyone are on the same page. What is sustainable human economy? So back to SDG. Okay? When we talk about SDG, UN have come up with indicators so that everyone on the same page, what need to be achieved. And what need to be achieved are the 200-something indicators. So maybe something that is similar to this, to that sustainable development goal. When we talk about sustainable human economy, what are we trying to achieve? And everyone have to be on the same page, what we are trying to achieve, so that the economy is sustainable and humane. Okay. And similarly, when we talk about measurement of human well-being from Maqasid Syariah perspective, okay, so we always say, no, Maqasid dah ada, so we have that Maqasid, okay, but we have not come up. How do we measure the Maqasid? Okay, whereas SDG, United Nations, have come up with what are the things that need to be, what are the things needs to be measured. Okay, Islamic Finance 2.0. So if you attend the Asas Symposium earlier in the morning, okay, we are talking about what is the next step for Islamic finance. Okay, so what is the next step for Islamic finance? So we are talking about this Islamic Finance 2.0, where the Islamic finance is going to be tools that will be able to assist us, will be able to help us to achieve this sustainable human economy. Okay? And the last one, we just have a meeting with the International Association of Islamic Economics. Okay? One of the hosts of the events. Okay? We have to come up with an Islamic economics blueprint. Okay? What is Islamic economics? So if we say fiscal policy from an Islamic perspective, okay, what is fiscal policy from an Islamic perspective? If we are talking about labor policy from an Islamic perspective, what is labor policy from an Islamic perspective? So inshallah, so for these 3 months and later, okay, we'll be able to do this. Okay, so with that, thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Prof, for the very thorough action plan. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, may I invite the Honorable Professor Emeritus Datuk Dr. Muhammad Azmi Omar, the President and Chief Executive Officer, International Center for Education in Islamic Finance and President of the International Association for Islamic Economics, to deliver his closing remark. Please welcome Datuk.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Yang berhormat Datuk Seri Diraja Dr. Zambry Kadir, the Minister of Higher Education, His Excellencies, Heads of Diplomatic Mission in Malaysia, Yang berbahagia Tan Sri Datuk Profesor Emeritus Zulkifli bin Abdul Razak, Director of International Islamic University Malaysia, Professor Dr. Gairus Zazmi bin Matghani, the Dean of College of Economics and Management Sciences and Conference Chairman, Prof. Aslam, the Conference Co-Chairman, honorable guests, sponsors, and strategic partners, distinguished speakers, participants, and members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh, and a very good afternoon to all of you. So today, right now, marks the conclusion of the 15th edition of the International Conference in Islamic Economics and Finance here in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Why I use the word Kuala Lumpur? Because the conference started in 1976 in Mecca Al-Mukarramah, the first conference, and the Association for Islamic Economics was established subsequent to that conference in Mecca Al-Mukarramah. And the association has always been an international association. Members from the prominent Islamic economics, both in the Middle East, in Southeast Asia, in Europe, in Americas. So this is the oldest association that works on Islamic economics and, of course, finance. I was given the task, unfortunately, to be the president of the association late last year. I would say unfortunately because there are many friends here who are in the council, because I have to wear many hats. But the important thing is that being somebody who has been a banker, a developmental banker as well, and academic, we see the importance of developing Islamic economy beyond Islamic finance. I think always we talk about Islamic finance, i.e. Islamic banking as a solution. And in any conference, you would have the debate, mudarabah masyarakat, mudarabah from the 80s until today. But alhamdulillah, we see today that the government of Malaysia, including our neighboring country, Indonesia, are looking at utilizing Islamic economics as a policy tool for the country. If I can recall, even in a neighboring country, one of the ministers asked me, "Pa Azmi, do you have Islamic economic policy tools for the country to implement?" As the world now looks at the failure of the current economic system, we move towards now what we call stakeholder economy, incorporating both individuals, shareholders, plus other parts of the stakeholders, including communities, nature, environment, and so on. So we're looking beyond just focusing on shareholders' interests. And Islamic finance or Islamic economy from the beginning has been talking about that, looking at the overall interests of the stakeholders in delivering what we call our objective, that is, to achieve the higher objective, maximizing potential benefits to the humankind and minimizing harm. And we call that Maqasid al-Sharia in the parlance of the Islamic economics Sharia language. So today, Yang Berhormat Datuk Seri, the association has been for 4 decades. We have been, working to develop this. And what we intend to do in this particular case, as being mentioned by both Prof. Gairu as well as Prof. Aslam, is that we have a meeting, council meeting this morning. We will prepare a policy, or I wouldn't call it a blueprint because blueprint requires a lot more work, but given that the time we have until May, we're going to prepare a white paper or policy paper on Islamic or what we call policy paper on sustainable humane economy, Madani economy, but based on the Islamic economics principles. I think that's the focus. We'll prepare that paper and we present it in this coming May convention. We believe it's the right time now for countries to use the Islamic principles in guiding the development of the country. We want to look at how fiscal economy, how monetary policy, and addressing those issues faced by the country. So this will be some of the policy positions that we'll put forward in the coming May. And the good thing for your information, our members have always been working very hard to to promote the development of Islamic economics. And to the extent that we spend our own money to promote that as well. You know, but given that, we hope that even the Ministry of Higher Education will consider that Islamic economics is an important area to be supported, and mentioned earlier on about having focused research to really ensure that Islamic economics, it should be the big brother rather than the younger brother of Islamic finance. Should be the big brother and more support the elder brother, support for the development of Islamic economics, you know. So in this way, we can support not only curriculum, research, and also, my important comment here, I am worried about having the next generation of economists, Islamic economists. I think if you look at the key people here, either they have white hair, white beard, or white mustache like me, you know. So we need to get those people with black hair, you know, to be part and parcel of this agenda to ensure Islamic economics becomes and continues to be important, not only in Malaysia, but also in countries that have significant Muslim population globally. So again, with that note, I thank IUM particularly and the organizing team for willing to host the event. You know, maybe I put it in Malay so that our press, kita ni menumpang nama the association. All the work done is essentially done by the IUM team. Okay. You know, but as always, we work smart. Collaboration. That's the important thing. So again, I thank everyone, those who are here today, the sponsors, the organizers, plus our Prime Minister as well, who have been committed in spending the time. And he even told me before he went into the car to say that make sure May event we will have, you know, a paper from the association. So we are fully committed, and we want to see that this thing will be realized. Again, thank you very much. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much, Datuk. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the highlight of today's event. Now let me respectfully invite Yang Berhormat Datuk Seri Diraja Dr. Zambry Abdul Kadir, Minister of Higher Education of Malaysia, to deliver the closing address of the 15th ICIEF Malaysia. Please welcome Datuk Seri.
Terima kasih pengacara majlis. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillah rabbil alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Yang berbahagia Tan Sri Rektor, yang berbahagia Profesor Emeritus Dr. Muhammad Azmi. So he described himself as not old, neither young, with his mustache appearance. Well, Dr. Azmi, sometimes hair is deceiving. Not only seeing is deceiving, but hair is also quite deceiving. You know why? You can find people with white hair, but they are not that old. But people with black hair, but they are indeed quite old. You know, for obvious reason, they will color every part of their person. Yang berbahagia Dr. Ghairul Azmi, Dekan. Yeah, it's good to listen to your lecture just now. It reminded me, refreshing my ideas on the economy, some of the economic theory taught by our great professors here in front of us, Professor Said Osman, Professor Nad Jamil as well. And also, Dr. Azmi was our great teacher as well, especially on the law of demand and supply and the theory of maximization of the limited resources. Brother Aslam, my colleague, and also my classmate, Sister Rosita, who is now a great professor. You know, sometimes you have to be smart to learn from the great people. So Aslam was one of those great people. I learned from them. They remain as professor. Now I'm a minister. I must confess I was not a good student then. But of course we pass every exam though. Because we have people like Aslam, like Rosita, like Professor Kamel. Professor Kamel is not here today. Oh, that's a great man, another great man that we all learn from him, including Aslam also learned from him. And my dear friends, it gives me great pleasure to be in the assembly of great people, great minds, scholars, reformers, agents of change. Aslam jokingly told me, make sure we are always the agents of change, not change agent. As we gather here today, at the culmination of this 15th International Conference on Islamic Economics and Finance, let us remember this important point. We have not simply been discussing economic theory and financial models. Much more than that, we are fulfilling the task that we are called upon to subscribe, to fully subscribe, that is, as a vicegerent of Allah. The conference may come to an end today, but remember, the real work has just started. We follow some of the recommendations just now, including the needs to have a white paper. So Dr. Azmi, you must make sure the paper must be really white, in and out. For the government to consider. Thank you very much for the proposals, and I'm looking forward to having it and to discuss further with your groups. This constant striving to improve the conditions of humanity and the world we live in is part and parcel of what human beings are meant to do. And we remember our great professor is here, Dr. Said Hosman, when he reminded us, because at one point, when we joined the university, you know, some of us are not from English medium stream, you know, including myself. I couldn't even speak, couldn't understand English words properly, to, you know, furthermore, to construct a proper sentence. We remember those years. And one day we went to see him. Sir, after following the class, I don't think we can follow this because we don't even understand what the past tense and present tense. Oh, this is a real story though. Yeah, to differentiate between is and was, we have to go to the dictionary. That was a difficult time, but he always gives us one reminder and advice. One great advice from him is that never give up. And the biggest room in the world, he said, yeah, is the room for improvement. That's why we take that advice and we struggle for that 4 consecutive years. It's very difficult years though. However, we pass. Pass. Okay lah, pass to pass. Okay, pass, okay. Not bad though. What I'm trying to tell you here is that, of course, we have some problems in understanding the Islamic economic although it was quite foreign to many people those years. And we remember the great debate we had between one great bankers in the country. Maybe some of you already shared that story here. Between the Islamic economy and the conventional economy. When one of these great bankers told us why any product of the so-called Islamic economy or Islamic banking is always expensive than the conventional one. So he gave the analogy between the slaughtered chicken and the non-slaughtered chicken. Which one you want to buy? Of course you want to buy the slaughtered one. But the slaughtered one is rather expensive than the non-slaughtered one. So as a Muslims, you have no choice but to go for the more expensive one. Of course, he created debate then among ourselves. One of the most important points we raise is that why the slaughtered one is more expensive than the non-slaughtered one. Then the debate was on and on and on, but it really developed the levels of maturity and the levels of inquiry into the Islamic economy as what we have today. And finally, in Malaysia, after certain years, with the strong support of the government, we have so many Islamic economics and Islamic finance institutions, such as, including some of the banking system practiced in Malaysia. Although the banks probably is not Islamic, the practices, some of the modes of transactions introduced. They even create some of the counters to fulfill the requirements of the Muslims in the country. So this is one of the very important success stories of our Islamic economy and Islamic banking in Malaysia. Of course, since then, we continue our debate, healthy debate, about what constitutes the best Islamic banking and Islamic economy. But I believe that we need to have more debate, discussion, healthy debate on the Islamic economy. I think we have developed quite extensively in the area of Islamic banking. But we need more studies in the area of Islamic economy, such as what we are proposing today in this conference, to have more sustainable human economy or Islamic economy. We have to continue our efforts to have scholarly discussion among ourselves and to engage the world at large to understand and to deliver our proposals of the right economic system to the world, and also to provide solutions to the current issues, crises of the world that we are facing today. I don't know where I'm going to start my speech again. So. Ladies and gentlemen, I stand before you not as a Minister of Higher Education, but as a fellow advocate of reform and the need to continue working for a better future for mankind. This is what I was taught in the IIUM or UIE. I believe this is what all university graduates need to internalize and manifest. Reform to better humankind and the planet. This gathering, a meeting of minds and hearts of academics, industry players and policymakers, serve as a powerful reminder that collaboration is key to any successful agenda for change. For any policy agenda to succeed, we need 3 P's: political will, people, and right policies. As far as the first P is concerned, I believe Malaysia has the political will. The current unity government, led by Yang Amat Berhormat Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim, has proposed the Madani framework, and this framework provides full support to attain a sustainable, humane economy. The theme of this conference resonates deeply with the core mission of our Prime Minister: reform and renewal, Islah and Tajdeed, a central concept held very dear to the Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim. In this agenda, higher education plays a critical role in shaping the future we all desire. The education system produces the second P. We produce the people, the human resources needed to design and implement change and reforms. Our universities and colleges are not just repositories of knowledge, but crucible of innovations and incubators of change. In universities, minds come together, ideas are tested, and solutions are born. The Ministry of Higher Education is not solely concerned with imparting knowledge and skills. We are committed to cultivating responsible and human beings, global citizens, individuals equipped to address the complex challenges of our time. We strive to foster critical thinking, ethical leadership, and a deep sense of social responsibility. In my address to all stakeholders of Ministry of Higher Education recently, I coined the term membina otak dan watak. How do you translate? Literally translating as to build the mind and character. This is very important for us as we are facing today's world. You need to create a holistic personality. It's not only a balanced one, but at the same time, we have to tell the others, because our education system sometimes tend to forget another dimension of human character, human personality. I just came back last night from Japan, and the mission to study, to see how Japanese education system develops and produce their technical experts in the field of engineering and others. We visited several institutions, and to our surprise, probably we ignore the importance of this country in terms of their curriculum development. Because there are countries out there, actually, already developed their comprehensive curriculum development. One of its institutions in Japan is Kosen. This is very similar to our polytechnic here. And one of the main themes of this Kosen is to produce a balanced personality where they produce, as much as they want to produce an engineer, but they also gave equal emphasis on building personality of the engineer. This is what they call producing a social doctor. Yeah, I was asking them, what is social doctor? They are not medical doctor, they are just engineer. No, they said, the doctor, they are the doctor who prescribes, solutions to the people, the right panacea to the society. If you are an engineer, you must work along with your society. You cannot just work for your own self-interest. This is quite interesting. That's why they infuse these values in the Japanese people. And this constant institute, which is very similar to our polytechnic, has produced so far more than 500,000 engineers and technicians to the country. That's only one institute. But I went to other institutes as well. It's very much similar. In other words, this is not something strange for us to this country to infuse these values. As much as we hear some people outside there are complaining, questioning why we have to have this integrated curriculum. They said if you want to produce doctors, you just produce doctors. You just produce engineers. How do you Islamize engineer? They said. As much as they say it, they even question how do you Islamize English language? Yeah. But there are peoples out there, there are countries out there that's been doing that. It's a good reminder to all of us to see this. And the roles played by the IIU since 1983. Therefore, I want everybody who comes here, who come to study to URA and who take the lead in URA also must understand the unique characteristic of URA. Yeah? A major challenge for any society, and this brings me to the third P. Having appropriate policy. Generally, impactful policies must be solely driven by data, science, and economics. The policymakers must convince the public that spending out an amount of resources on specific outputs, those proposed intervention programs are linked to the desired outcomes and intergenerational impact through the solid body of accumulated data and empirical findings. Such policies would naturally allow us to achieve intergenerational well-being beyond simply material success. What is termed sejahtera in the Malay language, a much wider meaning of prosperity. Yeah, the concept of sejahtera, I think this was also alluded in one of the write-up of the rector as well. The concept of sejahtera and makmur. Sejahtera is a multi-dimensional, multi-layers concept that we need to understand. It's not only producing the personality which has this quality of makmur for the purpose of economic prosperity, but also it's more than that. It consists of instilling your values, your character. That's the type of society that we want to produce. Ladies and gentlemen, sustainability is not merely a worldly concern, but a reflection of our faith. By nurturing the earth, we honor Allah's creations and fulfill our duty as a responsible vicegerent, Khalifa. Justice and equity are fundamental to a human economy, or wasatiyah, is our guide. However, wasatiyah does not merely mean moderation. As stated by our great teacher, Al-Marhum Tan Sri, Professor Emeritus Dr. Muhammad Kamal Hassan, wasatiyah also implies justice, excellence, and balance. This must be our guide especially in a heterogeneous society like Malaysia. We must avoid excesses of all kinds. Aslam just whispered to me that tomorrow it's a 1 year since the passing of our great professor. Let us take this opportunity to honor our great mentor, our great teacher, Professor Kamal Hassan, with the recitation of Al-Fatiha. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Allahumma aghfir lahu warhamhu wa'afihi wa'afu. Ladies and gentlemen, the discussion, presentation, and resolutions from this conference must provide input that align to our educational ecosystem with the goal of sustainability and human well-being. While the ministry has been carrying out reform in our education system over the decades, let me reiterate some key areas where I believe reforms needs to continue as an exercise to improve further. First, curriculum transformation. There is an urgent need to relevantize our curriculum by infusing it with more science, maths, and the most modern technology from preschool levels to tertiary. Such an approach is paramount to creating well-rounded citizens who are well-positioned and empowered to face, navigate, and thrive in the 4IR digital economy in the sector, in the creator mode that is producing technologies rather than as mere users of technology. Modern tech is seriously expanding the range of measurable phenomena and an arsenal of research tools allowing us to better fulfill the real ultimate vicegerencies of the earth. Second, fostering interdisciplinary research, knowledge and skills development. This is crucial for navigating the complexity of the 4IR reality and beyond, where innovation more and more often arises at the intersection of multiple disciplines. This approach accelerates the pace of discovery, promotes holistic solutions to complex global challenges we face, and engenders resilience and adaptability, positioning societies to thrive in an increasingly interconnected and dynamic world. Also, there is intense urgency to spearhead the efforts towards the development of a robust local quantum ecosystem to empower domestic businesses and reduce dependency on external sources. The speed of the technological process has been accelerating exponentially. Third, empowering social entrepreneurs. Let us cultivate a culture of innovation within our universities, specifically encouraging and supporting social entrepreneurship initiatives. These young minds hold the potential to develop businesses that address critical social and environmental issues while creating positive economic change. I'm happy to note that many papers in the conference were in the area of socio-economic and finance. Fourth, building bridges. To translate knowledge into action, we must strengthen partnership between universities, industries, and civil society, and of course, government agencies, or they call it triple helix models. By leveraging each sector's unique expertise, resources, and perspective, this partnership can accelerate the development and implementation of solutions that benefit society, the economy, and the environment. The Ministry of Higher Education will continue to support collaborative research, including in this niche area of Islamic economics and social economics that maybe does not get sufficient attention from the Islamic banking and finance industry. So Dr. Azmi, you can put forward your proposals to me. I think we have also many the like-minded personalities in our ministry who will extend their help to you. And you yourself are quite familiar with my ministry. We have people here, also some of them are my friends here. Dr. Hamza is here. If you can find me, you find Dr. Hamza. Especially in terms of getting this. This is a great man here. Fifth, empower small-size individuals' economic sector. 4IR exert unprecedented equalizing power, allowing economies of scale and efficiency to be achieved at any levels. Therefore, this power, especially the innovative fintech models, must be harnessed to equip the individual small players rather than the big-scale producers and aggregators to demote wealth concentration in the hand of few and avoid all feared technological unemployment. So we are allowing it. Now we are proposing, it's one of our main agenda and my ministry agenda. I'm not using my agenda, but my ministry agenda, all of us, we have come up with our programs to push forward with this kind of activities among our students. 6, credibly address food security. This is another issue. This is a very big issue today in the world. When we talk about Islamic economics, one of the critical areas is food security as a cornerstone of economies and the key aspects of future resilience against the backdrop of seriously shrinking Earth's resources. Food security significantly benefit from modern tech and fintech. Many of you have been to many developed countries. If you go to Amsterdam, Denmark, Amsterdam, and many other places, cities in the world, you can see how they develop through the latest technology in terms of producing more foods, and also they develop the agriculture sector. National food security built effectively leads to greater food availability and affordability, lowers food expenditure as a share of the overall household spending, and leave a larger proportion of the national income available to be spent elsewhere. This has far-reaching implications, such as increased aggregate demand for other industrial goods and services, soaring national GDP, increased political stability, and overall techno-socio-economic progress and well-being of the nation. The Ukraine-Russian war is a good lesson to all of us, where the countries now needs to plan properly for the future on food security. 7, engendering core unity philosophy. As a multi-ethnic society, we need to realize and materialize that human transformation is not only being smart, but also highly united and principled in sound ethic and morality. Only under this banner can the good use of science and technology for the benefit of all be achieved. This conference has been a call to action. Listening to our professor just now, there are numbers of actions to be taken, not only by the government, not only by our universities, but also by other sectors, particularly the private sectors as well. This conference has been called to action not just for those here today, but for the entire higher education community. I will take up some of those, if not all. We must leverage our collective knowledge and resources to become catalysts for positive change. By doing so, we can ensure that future generations inherit not just a strong economy, but one that thrives in harmony with our planets, foster the well-being of all its inhabitants. Ladies and gentlemen, as a conclusion, here are some key takeaways to propel us forward. One, as far as the economy is concerned, growth, productivity, and efficiency must go hand in hand with striving for a sustainable human economy. These are two sides of the same coin. It is not feasible to try to achieve one without the other. Our academics need to present innovative ideas on how best to do this. Two, innovation is our engine. Let's keep pushing the boundaries, exploring new technologies, embracing creative solutions to complex challenges. We can learn from the best globally, but we should also never forget our rich heritage and traditions. Three, collaboration is key, not competition. No single entity has all the answers. We must work together across sectors, disciplines, and borders to share knowledge, resources, and best practices. I'm very happy to see this conference consciously brought together academia, industry, and policymakers, both from Malaysia as well as globally. Four, action speaks louder than words. So in our Malay, we always call, jangan cakap-cakap saja. But I don't translate literally from that. But it is the Malay expression though. Ataupun in the people from the north always say, jangan duk cakap besar saja. What a time for thinking and talking never end. We must be able to also translate our inspiration and ideas into concrete actions and implementable policies. I look forward to discussing with colleagues from the Kuliah of Economics and Management Sciences. We still have our great professors here. Professor Seri Osman is one of them. IIUM and other co-organizers about the proposed conference agenda that was mentioned just now. Bring forward your ideas and suggestions on how we can work together in curriculum improvement, as well as a research initiative to achieve our vision for a better future. Thank you to your IIUM celebrating its 40th anniversary for being the core drivers of Islamic economics education for the last 4 decades. Without being biased, despite being a proud alumnus of the IIUM, of the Department of Economics, I don't think anyone can doubt, I don't think anyone can doubt the contribution and impact IIUM and the Kuliah of Economic and Management Sciences in particular has made in Islamic economic and finance education, both in theory as well as in practice. Not only in Malaysia, it's not only in Malaysia. I just want to tell some of the representation from the world bodies here. It's not only in Malaysia, but I think, not only I think, in fact, I met many of them, the graduates of IIUM, regionally, globally as well. They have contributed significantly to their respective countries. When I was a foreign minister last year, I visited 47 countries within that 47 years. I'm sorry, Professor Sano, I couldn't, visit your countries, of course, despite all your several calls to me. I visited 47 countries. But in many countries I met some personalities. They introduce themselves. Datuk Seri, I know when they call me Datuk Seri, I know they know Malaysian culture. Because otherwise I'd never allow them to call me Datuk Seri Diraja, because it's very difficult. In Japan yesterday, because they wanted to call Diraja, how to say, which one is your first name actually? But I told them, just call me the Zambry, it's okay. Yeah, they called me Datuk Seri. They say, I'm a IIU graduate. Oh, yeah. Numbers of personalities, not only in Turkey, in some of the African countries, even in Indonesia regionally, here in ASEAN. So, congratulations once again to UIE, IIUM, College of Economy. As the Minister of Higher Education, I remain steadfast in my support for the collective journey towards a better future. So, to the organizers of 15th conference, it is your duty now to keep the momentum going. Now I pass the baton to you, back to you. And the work for continuous improvement, ever relevant. So you don't have to come back to me later on the next year if I'm still around as a Minister of Higher Education said, Dr. Zambry, you are supposed to do this and do that. But first, I pass this responsibility to you, Aslam, Dr. Azmi, the deans, and the rest. Please make sure all those recommendations and the outcome of these conferences must be realized. When I come back again next year, I want to see some of the points already implemented. Once again, may Allah bless our efforts and guide us towards a future where prosperity and compassion flourish together. Thank you. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Datuk Seri, for the incredibly informative closing address. With that note, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite Ustaz Muhammad Rashid Rida bin Muhammad Shukri from Tilawah Division Salpat to recite the dua. Tafadol, Ustaz.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الفاتحة. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد صلاة تنجينا بها من جميع الأهوال والآفات وتقضي لنا بها من جميع الحاجات وتطهرنا بها من جميع السيئات وترفعنا بها عندك أعلى الدرجات وتبلغنا بها أقصى الغايات من جميع الخيرات في الحياة وبعد الممات. Ya Allah, Ya Rahim, in this blessed afternoon, in conjunction with the closing ceremony of 15th International Conference on Islamic Economics and Finance 2024, we are grateful for your endless mercy and rahmah. We ask for your blessings, Ya Allah, that you may ease the progress flow, so it may benefit us. Allahumma la sahla illa ma ja'altahu sahla, wa anta taj'alul huzna idha shi'ta sahla. Ya Allah, there is nothing easy except what you make easy, and you make the difficult easy if it is your will. Ya Latif, Ya Rahman, bless us with tawfiq and hidayah. We pray to you, Ya Allah, for everyone here today, greatness, peace, glory and prosperity. Let our goals always align with what you please. Allahumma ja'al awwala yawmina hadha salaha, wa awsatahu falaha, wa akhirahu najaha. Allahumma ja'al awwalahu rahmah, wa awsatahu ni'mah, wa akhirahu takrimatan wa maghfirah. Allahumma la tada' lana dhanban illa ghafartah, wa la hamman illa farrajtah, wa la daynan illa qadaytah, wa la hajatan min hawaij ad-dunya wal akhirah illa qadaytaha bi rahmatika ya arhamar rahimin. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanatan wa qina adhaban nar. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وبارك وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين. تقبل الله منا ومنكم.